Okay, guys, this video is starting with an editor's note. I just really want to show this scene off. It's from the movie, but it was in the trailer a bit. It's literally like 5 seconds. I just really want to show off the score, because I talk about the score later on, but it's like 6 minutes into this video. I know not a lot of people even get to that point in my videos. I just really want to show this off. This is Nerd Joey going full nerd. This is one of my best soundtracks of the year, and it might be one of my favorites ever. I don't know. It gives me chills. So here you guys go, and enjoy the video. Hey guys, what is up? Big Reviews here, back again with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the big ones. This is one of the big three, I called it, to come out over this summer, especially in July, which is Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four. I didn't make a video on Jurassic World. I probably should have, but it was good. It's just, you know, your average Jurassic World movie, so I didn't really have a lot to say about it. But this was one I was really hyped for. Superman! And guys, this movie goes crazy. I love it. There are some gripes I have with it, which I will talk about mainly in the spoiler section of the video. Overall, this was a great film. As you know, this is our new DC universe. It's a little confusing, especially for people who just go to watch these movies for fun. But we had the old DC movies with like the Henry Cavill Superman and all that, and a lot of the mid-ass movies. That's over now. James Gunn took over. As you know, James Gunn made Guardians of the Galaxies. He made the Suicide Squad. He's really good with comic book stuff. So he's co-running DC now, and this is the first big project in the DCU. So if you ever hear people say DCEU, that's like the Henry Cavill, you know, the Black Adam with The Rock. That's like the old stuff. If you hear DCU, that's the new current stuff that you should be paying attention to. And this movie had a lot on its plate. First off, it's Superman. Superman's been really controversial over the past 10 years. We've had Zack Snyder people really pushing for their version. You have Gunn people really pushing for his version. We've had a lot of, and the way I view it is we've had evil Superman a lot. Like, you know, we had evil Superman in like Injustice, and I feel like a lot of people were really pushing into that, especially when Homelander blew up. So it's nice to really get a film that really showcases like who Superman is. You know, he's this farm boy who is powerful as hell, and he just wants to save everyone, and he loves humanity, and this movie does that perfectly. David Corn Sweat as Superman, they plucked him out of the pages. He is phenomenal in this movie. The way he has his Clark Kent voice compared to his Superman voice, and just you can really tell he just wants to save everyone, and he doesn't understand why, like, these humans just, like, you know, they keep talking about, oh, you need the government's, you know, to stop a war and all that, and he's just so flabbergasted. He's like, people were gonna die. Like, isn't this the common human thing, is to go save people?
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die!
I just love that about him. The camera work in this movie is great. As you know, especially recently, James Gunn is great with moving his camera. I always say this, move your camera. A film, especially a superhero film, that is shot staticky is a boringly shot. It could be entertaining as hell. It could be boring as hell. As much as I love Endgame and all these big ass superhero films, the camera's not moving a lot. I mean, remember the old school Spider-Man film? People were comparing this to Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I see the comparisons, because remember, if you go back to those old Spider-Man Sam Raimi films, the camera's moving with Spider-Man. You feel like you're with him, and he does it great here. Any punch, the camera's moving. When Superman's flying, it looks jittery, but it's on purpose, because it's almost as if like the camera's struggling to catch up to Superman. He's flying so fast. It feels like you're right there, and it feels like you're in the universe. And let's talk about that universe for a second. Obviously, this film had a lot of stuff to establish. It's the Iron Man 1 of DC, right? Iron Man 1 was the first of the MCU. It set it up. This film really is the Iron Man 1. We start with a title card, and it's not, you know, I guess it's a little spoilery. A little spoiler. It's not a big spoiler, guys. But we start off with just some text, you know, explaining like what a metahuman is, some of Superman's backstory, and there's like this big event that happens, and I do wish we got to see that, but obviously I like how they just pluck us into this universe. Superman's been doing his thing for 3 years, and one thing I caught on that I really like is like Marvel's universe is obviously fledged out, and this is not a movie like me comparing the two, but it's really hard not to. Like, Marvel's thing is really interesting because like their universe is basically like their Earth is basically ours, right? Obviously, like when superhero stuff comes out, people are screaming and stuff. Like, same thing happens in this movie, but in Marvel, like, it's almost like anytime they see some superhero shit going on, they're like, oh my god. In DCU, there's like literally he's fighting people downtown, and people are still working. Like, they don't care. Like, there's a whole thing going on in a window, and people are just talking, right? And I find that really cool, but semi-realistic. Like if it's not like a city-destroying threat and Superman's just fighting someone, people can't just stop what they're doing and do whatever. I thought that was pretty funny. I think it is realistic. The score in this film, incredible. Obviously, it has a lot of original score, but obviously the big one is they took the OG Superman, Christopher Reeves, John Williams score and made it into electric guitar, and it fits it perfectly. The suit is perfect. I really like this movie, guys. Now, the big gripes I have, non-spoiler wise, which I can say, is I do feel like the first 20 to 30 minutes of this film is kind of like, it's not bad and it's not like not entertaining. It's just like kind of hard to grip you. You know what I mean? Once some stuff happens, which I'll mention the spoiler stuff, where once that stuff happens, then you get really tied into it and you're like, fuck yeah, like, oh my God, like, I wonder how this is going to happen. But obviously in the first 20, 30 minutes, they're setting a lot of stuff up, and it really does feel, another thing is like, this is like the most comic book film I've seen. Like, I actually feel like I'm in a comic. Like, this movie, especially in the beginning, feels like you're reading or watching like multiple old school DC comics or animated shows. And like, it's like, he fights a kaiju, then he fights, Lex, then he fights Ultraman, and he fights like all this stuff, and it's just really interesting to like, I really did like that. But then again, like, it's really hard to just grip you up until Lex really starts doing the stuff that he does in this movie. Editor Joey here. I don't think I explained myself well, and I don't think I ever will be good at explaining myself. But what I meant here was, like, obviously it was really entertaining seeing Superman do all these things, and I just wish they focused more on, like, Clark, and we only get, like, a few scenes of him being Clark, and I just feel like it was, like, a lot, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to the pacing of the movie, this movie does move very fast, and when it gets to Lex's main plot, and when it gets up to the point where, Superman gets, captured or whatever, that's when the plot really kicks into high gear and it seems a lot more fluid. Now, it's hard to give criticism and then also say you don't mind it. Just the first 20, 30 minutes are a bit rushed and stuff, but it doesn't make it bad. When I walked out the theater, I was in between an 8 or a 9. I do think I'm like an 8.5, maybe 9. I think I'm going to watch it again. I think that will push me to a 9. I do like this film a lot. I think it lived up to the hype. Some people say it doesn't live up to the hype, and that's your opinion if you didn't like it. I do think a lot of people who say that did have overhype. This movie obviously was overhyped because it's been a long time since we have a Superman film, especially a Superman film that looks like this. And I think it lived up to a lot of the hype, and it makes me excited for the DCU going forward, and it makes me want to see more of these characters. So let's get into spoiler talk. The main thing that I was really talking about with the first 30 minutes is like, we see Superman get hurt. They mention that he's taught like that he just did something like a few weeks ago that like has people kind of like wary about him because he stopped like a war, but then the US is like, you can't just do that, and he's like, why? People are gonna die. And then it says 3 minutes ago he just lost his first fight. And I think it's cool, and obviously he can't show everything in this film because it'll be long, but it just sucks because then like all this stuff happened off screen. It would have been cool to see this Superman lose his first fight and see how it, obviously we see him throughout the movie reacting to it, but like in real time as he's fighting, realize he's losing. I think that's pretty interesting. But and then this movie just starts throwing everything at you. We have Superman healing, and then we have Lex on his tail, and this movie really starts to pick up kind of once Superman gets kidnapped. Not kidnapped, but Superman fights the kaiju and surrenders. That's when we finally get into like the final act and a half where it's like, oh shit, like now he's fighting Superman, there's a dimensional thing opening and stuff. I don't even really want to talk about spoilers that much. I'm just talking about the basic plot points. But yeah, other than really that first 30 minutes like kind of not grasping me as much, I really did love the film. There's a scene at the end that really kind of, so the other main thing that I don't know how I feel about, I don't know if I hate it, I don't know if I love it, is a big plot point is that he has his dad and his mom's recording telling him, you have to like help the people of Earth and be there for them, and it's Bradley Cooper, which was, I was like, what the fuck? And Lex basically has the engineer go in there and find out that the actual message is his dad saying like, yeah, and find a lot of wives and make a lot of babies because you want to mix your DNA with them. And basically then Lex spins that as oh, he wants to conquer the world. I don't know how I feel about that because they, as of right now, again, Lex wasn't lying, like, and a lot of other people say like Lex was not lying, this is legit, like 40 people confirm this, like 40 people who do voice and stuff confirm that this is an actual audio. And until they come out in another movie and say that Lex manipulated that audio, which they could, because I know some people might have backlash to this, I don't know how I feel about Superman's dad and mom like being like like that. Like obviously his main parents, which is like his biological parents. Obviously his main parents are Joseph Kent and Ma Kent. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about his dad being like evil, and it's weird because like obviously I don't know if there's a comic run. If there is a comic run of this, let me know. I'm sure there is, but that kind of threw me off guard. I know he used it as a plot point. Obviously Superman is still good, but that was always kind of weird to me. I was like, wow, so Jor-El like kind of wants to just like rule Earth, or have Superman eventually rule Earth. That was kind of a creative choice where I was like, I could see it doesn't bother me as much, but I could see a lot of people, especially hardcore Superman fans, really not vibing with that decision that much. But Mr. Terrific in this film is one of the standouts. He's a great character who I knew nothing about going into this film. He has one of the best, if not the best, action scene in the whole film. It's a little, James Gunn one take with the camera spinning. It's the kind of Guardians. It was really good. It's towards the end of the film. Lois Lane is incredible in this film. I forgot who plays her, but she is incredible. Like, she is hard hitting, and she like she interviews Superman. She does not hold back, and I love her and Clark's relationship and how they've been dating for 3 months. And I really love how she already knows. I love it's kind of like Iron Man. Like, I am Iron Man. Like, it's like one of those big reveals that like in other media they might hold on to, and this one they were just like, yeah, he already knows. It's pretty fun. I'm really glad. I really like the relationship, and just seeing Superman like save little things. Like, there's a scene where he, like, obviously he saves a dog and he saves a little girl, which is cute. He saves a squirrel. And I just remember being like, that's fucking Superman. Like, he saves a squirrel out of a tree when the Kaiju's about to step on. Like, that was great. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, my God, he was a fantastic Luthor. Dare I say the best one. I know a lot of Smallville fans might disagree, but he was great. Like, you feel his hatred for Superman. You feel how he thinks Superman's getting everything to himself on a platter, and Lex is realizing he's not like the number one person in the world and all that. You feel his like anger and animosity towards Superman, and it's really well done. And like I said, one of the other things that I didn't like as much was at the end, right at the end, Superman's talking to Lex Luthor, and Superman has a great, and like Lex Luthor has a great speech, because Superman's like, why do you hate me so much? And he's like, you're everything, blah blah. He just goes into his speech, and then Superman's like, you're wrong, Lex. Like, I do care too much, and I do open up to people too much, blah blah. And that's what makes me human, and that's my biggest superpower. And one of my friends said that was cheesy, and yes, it is cheesy, but that's Superman. Superman's cheesy. He makes funny jokes. Like, he literally like made a quip to Lois in their interview, like Superman doesn't take selfies or whatever, and she was like, that was cringy, and he was like, I have a lot of those. Like, that's Superman, and I love that they showed this, and like, that's true. His humanity is his biggest strength, and that was like, it could have been taken as cringy, but I really took that as empowering, and that was like the main message of the film. Like, it takes a lot to be nice to everyone when a lot of people do want to bring you down, and especially in a place where you don't really, if you feel like you belong, but you still do it because that's who you are. And the movie ends really phenomenally, and there's also this is a big spoiler. This is like a big spoiler. Like, if you didn't really care about spoilers, but like you don't want like some cameos spoiled, there's only 2 cameos in the film, but they're big. One is like really quick, and it's Peacemaker on a talk show, just like talking shit about Superman. I thought that was pretty funny, and the whole theater popped. Now, Peacemaker's pretty famous. Like, he's he has his own show that was really good. He was in the Suicide Squad, but the Suicide Squad kind of bombed because it came out right after COVID came out. So not a lot of people saw it, but now a lot of people finally are going back and realizing that it was good. And I think it is canon to the DCU. As of right now, it's kind of iffy. Like, Peacemaker, the show, obviously is canon, they said, but at the end of Peacemaker, the OG Justice League pop up, which obviously would contradict this new universe. So James Gunn said like the events happen, but they might happen differently. So in that case, I think the Suicide Squad is canon, and Peacemaker. But yeah, we see him, and the big one is Supergirl. This was a rumor. We didn't know if it was going to happen. Millie Alcock, I think her name is playing her, as we know, because she's filming her Supergirl movie, which comes out next year. And her suit looks awesome. She looks great. This is literally cousin banter where she's drunk, and they're basically, and people are saying this is out of character. This is actually way in character for her, because the storyline that her movie's based off of is where she wants to just go to all these systems and get drunk and stuff, and for her birthday and party and forget about everything. So she leaves her dog with Superman, and so like you find out that it's not actually his, it's hers, and he's watching it. So I thought that was funny. And yeah, we see her suit, it looks great, and then she leaves. It's like 2 minutes, and I do have a few real, like, obviously this movie is great, but there's a few scenes that really stuck out to me that I really liked, or I got goosebumps. One, like I said, the Mr. Fantastic fight. Another one was, there was a shot of a building falling and a girl stuck in a car, like trying to start her car, and he catches the building and she drives away finally. And as she's driving away, she looks back and the smoke just like plumes in, and then Superman rises through the smoke and he just floats there, and she's in awe. And I was like, oh my god, like it just feels so good to have a Superman film again, like, and like have superhero films like where like they're actually saving people. Like, it was so great, and the music obviously was great. Another scene that I really liked was, there's only like 10 minutes of it, but the scene where he's back at his parents' ranch in Kansas, and you know he's just down on his luck, and he's talking to Pa Kent, and you know he's like, you know, my dad really sent me here to, you know, enslave humans, and I guess I'm living a lie. And you know, his dad, his main dad, you know, Pa Kent, was like, you know, your actions are who you are. Like, you save people, you are caring, like that's who you are, just because of a message. And obviously I'm like kind of bullshitting exactly what they said, but the way it was presented, like it was, you could just like, in that one convo, you just felt all the backstory that you haven't seen felt through that moment. Like, you know these two have a really good connection. You know Ma Kent has a really good connection to him, and they have a lot of history obviously since they raised him, and that was a great scene. The other good scene was at the end, which actually surprised me. Was in the beginning of the film, you know, he gets hurt and he has to get recharged by the sun, and the robot's helping him say, oh, play that recording of his parents, he really likes it. And it's Jor-El from Krypton talking to him, and the you know, obviously he says, like, you know, do good, you know, save the people of Earth, and then the audio cuts because it just, from the crash when he came to Earth. But then obviously we know Lex changed that. So at the end, the robot's like, yeah, put the message on, you know, put the memories on the screen. He likes that. And you think it's gonna be them, but then it's videos of him growing up with the Kents, and it's him running through a field, and Pa Kent's holding him while he goes like this, and all these videos of just the Kents, you know, raising him in this ranch and stuff. And I just really found that really hard hitting. And then he smiles, and that's the end of the movie. And I was like, I thought that was really good. That's who Superman is, like, just joyful. And there's also a fight scene where, you know, you see it in the trailer where he spins 360 and the lasers go off and the music swells, and that was great. This movie rocks, guys. It really does. Go see it. Obviously, go see it. Like, this is not even like a superhero. Like, if you're in a superhero, this is like anybody. Like, Superman is like much more than just a superhero. Like, he's like, Superman is, it's ironic because he's an alien, but Superman is like the most human superhero of them all, and he's like what a human should be. And this movie really shows off him just saving people, and just people like yearning to be saved and like be one. And it's just great, guys. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. 8.5 to 9 is where I'm at right now. If I'm gonna go watch it again, I can solidify a 9 maybe, but guys, go watch it. It's great. Like, obviously, like I said, the first 30 minutes might be a little sluggish and like you're trotting along, but they're setting so much stuff up, and it's not boring. As long as it's not a boring trog, I'm good with it. Let me know what you guys think of Superman down below. Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? And yeah, guys, Fantastic Four in 2 weeks as well. We'll have a review up for that before I leave to Chicago. And what a great time to be a movie fan. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it's been Joey. Until next time, bye bye.